Hi guys, welcome into today's show. We're going to talk everything about properties today, and we have Gerald on with us today.
Hey guys, how's it going? Yeah, so today we're going to talk about quite a few interesting new launches as well as what are some of our thoughts on it.
This recent ABSD has caused quite a lot of hoo-ha because people
I know,
who have
right?
aspirations to buy a second property are now going to face an even heavier tax of 20%. And the big
Yes,
change definitely is in the foreigner segment, whereby the ABSD is increased by 30%. What are your thoughts
yes,
on
it's
why government's actually
crazy.
made such drastic changes again?
Yeah, not just for foreigners, even locals who want to put their properties on trust, right? For
Hmm.
their kids. Now they have to pay 65%. Oh, that's a lot. Not only that, it was very sudden. Overnight, suddenly they announced in I think 11 plus, boom, next day, property price increase. So everyone in the market was just shocked.
It's like immediate effect, right? No, like, oh, it's going to start
Yes.
next week. Then everybody in China is just going to fly over buy a property
Yeah,
right away.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Immediate
So
effect.
that so it was very shocking. No one kind of knew why, but I think the next day the government they kind of revealed the growth rates. So what happened was that the property price index in quarter one in 2023, they released it the day after, right? They increased the stamp duty. So it grew by a lot. The market's getting a bit hot, right? Because in the quarter on average, the property market grew 3.3% in the first quarter in this year alone, which is crazy. 3.3% for property. Yeah. Yeah.
And
So
if you to scrutinize a bit further, the data point suggests that RCR is the one that's picking up the most, right? I also saw data that's related to this. It suggests that foreigners are the ones that are buying a bit more because previously foreigner purchases are about 4%. But right now in
yes,
first quarter 2023, they are climbing close to 7%. And this trend, if it escalates, it could become double digit already. Any thoughts on
yes.
foreigners buying new home sales?
Yeah. So I think right now with the global conflict going on, right? People are looking for safe havens to kind of park their money. And Singapore really stands out as a safe haven compared to our neighboring countries like Hong Kong or China. Right. So then there's a lot of inflows of money coming in, especially when the world started opening up. And we know that the government can see these data, they think like, wow, too much money coming in. This means that a lot of locals will be priced out, especially like HDB upgraders. Let's say they want to upgrade to condo, and if condo prices are like 2 million, then it becomes very, very hard or out of reach of the lay person, right? So that's why government is kind of thinking, hey, how do we kind of better support our locals? Who are buying their first property. So I think that's the key intention behind this move. Lah. What I noticed was that the number one foreign buyers, everyone can kind of guess it, it's from China. But if I would ask you guys, who do you think is the second most?
I think it should be Indonesia. Because as we know,
Yeah,
a lot
that's
of
what
Indonesian
everyone would.
families are rich. And I know of Indonesian friends from school days, and they actually buy a few
Yes.
in a stack.
Yeah, so that's what everyone would think, right? But did you know it is actually the Americans. The number of Americans that bought private property, it's almost similar to the Chinese this year alone. So
Wow. And
that's
and
a
Americans,
lot.
they don't need to pay any ABSD, right? I've seen certain comments before
Yes,
on my channel. That is accurate, right?
yes, correct. So it's they use this acronym Linus, which is Liechtenstein, Iceland, United States, and one other country. So these countries basically they follow the Singaporean rate because our governments have a special tax treaty with these countries.
Hey, which means if we raise ABSD for foreigners, that's the 30% won't impact them. Which means you're
Yes, so
only
then
going to weed out Chinese buyers only, what? And Indonesian
yes.
buyers.
Yes. So that's why I'm like thinking, oh, this means there'll be more American buyers coming in, right? Another interesting data point was where they started buying homes from. A lot of them are starting to look outwards, right? So they use traditionally everyone knows that foreigners always buy CCR, but 5 years ago, like all of them predominantly only buy like CCR. But now a lot of foreigners have started to drift outwards and started to buy properties in the RCR region.
Okay, CCR, just to clarify, is Core Central Region, which
Yeah.
means District 9, 10, 11, Orchard, Newton area. News
Mm,
headlines are
mm.
always suggesting that private property is still doing very well. Blossoms by the Park, which is something in the Bona Vista region, actually achieved record sales despite government cooling measures. And just to put a
Yes.
context to things, CDL wanted to release their own project, which is Newport Residences in Tanjong Pagar, the old Fuji
Mhm.
Xerox building. And because of ABSC, they actually shelved that for a couple of weeks just to regroup.
Oh,
But Blossoms by a Park just decided to chong ahead and release it, and they actually saw fantastic turnout rate, right? What are some of the numbers and
Ex-
what are your key thoughts on this breaking
Yeah,
news?
so the Blossom, I think if I remember correctly, is 73% sold on launch day, right? Right after the ABSD. I don't know, is it like how many of it is contributed by Kanchong Singaporeans, worried that something's gonna happen and they purchase.
FOMO.
Yeah, but what I noticed for the Blossoms project is that a lot of it was targeted at investors, people trying to kind of buy a property to invest because it's a small unit and a lot of them were dual key. So I would say half of the units were small, right? Then the other half had the other quarter had about dual key projects. So like more than around 70%, 75% of the unit is really targeted at investors looking to buy a property to purchase. And again, most of the profile was Singaporeans.
So the small units have to be going at 1.3 million thereabouts, right? Because the PSF is 2,000
Yes.
plus, right?
Yeah, so I saw the one of the transaction price. I think it started at 2.1, was it? 2.1K PSF. There was one transaction that went as high as 2.4K, almost 2.5. I was like, whoa.
That's why I don't even saw this. Ho Ching actually mentioned ABSD curbs on property purchases. Relax lah. And in her Facebook post, you did mention that first of all, it is clear that Singaporeans who will still enjoy zero ABSD on their first property. And first property is actually 99% of all home buyers, according to her. And she also mentioned that ABSD only applies to residential properties, no ABSD on commercial properties. So she's actually suggesting that investors look at REITs and commercial properties instead of residential if they are concerned. But back to the point on upcoming launches. Next would be a project that's in the East Coast, right? There's one that I've come to realize is going to launch possibly quite soon, which is Continuum in the Marine Parade, Katong region. Any
Yes.
insights on this upcoming project or not?
Yeah, so this area is very, very hot because of the rejuvenation efforts or planned by the government. There's a lot of projects. There is Tembusu Grand, then there is the Continuum, then there will be Grand Dunman coming soon. And there are good schools there like Tao Nan, there is Tanjong Katong Primary School as well. So then people all got very excited, kind of want to get involved in the area. Basic info about the property is that it is a relatively large development at 816 units, plot ratio 2.8. So in terms of stories, it would be 18 stories high. Interestingly, even though the launch date is after the Busu Grand, it is actually going to TOP 1 year earlier at 2027. Yeah, so the developer cost price is 2,120 per square foot. That was estimated. So they did pay 11% premium compared to the other developers in the area, but because this is a freehold, so that's why naturally they pay a little bit more. And this is built by Hoi Hub Realty and Sunway Realty. So niche developers are unlike like Tembusu Grand, which is built by CDR, which is like a very
Tembusu Grand,
established
is it
developer.
freehold or 99?
Tembusu Grand is 99 years.
That's why
Correct.
it's likely going to be more expensive even.
Yes, it's definitely going to be more expensive. When we factor in developers margins, right? And right now it's really the sellers market or developers market. So when we try to make intelligence guess, all the data sources point that it will be somewhere with it between like 2,600 per square foot to 2,800 per square foot. I'm gonna go with like the higher price range, right? Because the Continuum has been hyped by a lot of agents. Like when I attended like workshop seminars and talked to other agents, a lot of people would push like, hey, if you got the budget, you should really try to push towards to get Continuum, which is a little bit more expensive, but it's freehold and he has he has a lot of special features that are really unique, not just within the area but in Singapore. Yeah, so I think one of the key features that really stood out is that they have like a bridge, that connects the project from one end to the other end. So that's why that is one feature that everyone talks about. Even though I like, okay, it's a good talking point, but I don't place a lot of premium to it. But I think a lot of agents will use it to hype it up.
Like a
But what I
sky
really like,
bridge thing. Then sometimes they build
yeah,
like
yeah.
gym on top, right? I don't know.
Yeah, so yes, they do because it's a sky bridge connecting two apartment blocks, right? So they have double everything. They have two gyms, they have two swimming pool, they have two sky parks, two barbecue pits at the top.
What is the breakdown of units? Is it going to be 70% one bedder and two bedder like what we saw in the Buona Vista project, Blossoms?
Yes. Okay, for this, right, they actually, because it's a large project, they have like 1 bedroom plus study all the way up to 5 bedrooms. So more than 50% of the development is 3 bedrooms and below. So mostly I think one bedroom is like 21%, two bedroom plus study is like 38%. So total already 50+%, right? So 50% is all relatively small.
More for investors, 2 bedrooms, 1 bedroom.
Yeah, but apart from that, I also think like the pricing is very important because like once you reach like the 4 bedrooms, right, and 5 bedrooms, it's literally landed property prices.
Yeah, what that would be like 3+ million. And with the new
Yeah.
stamp duty, this will cost quite a bit more already. I always think the hype in new projects is getting a bit publish. I'm more of the
Yes.
resale may have better value, but I may be wrong also. So as always, let us know your thoughts. And if you have found some benefit from this whole discussion, smash a like, smash a subscribe. And thank you, Gerald, again for sharing with us some of your insights.
Hey, no problem. It was a pleasure. It was a lot. It was a lot of fun digging the information and trying to learn about the new launches as well as the prices around the area. So thanks for having me.
With that, we'll see you in the next show. Take care as always. Goodbye.